All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. And this is Stacy Benton, and this is Rebirth TV. We are launching the Rebirth A Gift Series. We are in part 1, which is conception, and the Rebirth A Gift Series is all about healing your complex trauma, and because healing is a transformational journey. And I was actually, if you look at the previous video, I was just really just encouraging everyone that's listening in, that's watching the videos, that's spending your time. I really do appreciate it. That you're taking out the time to heal your complex trauma. And in the previous video, I was just sharing with you, just for you to be engaged in the process, that this is very vital to your healing journey, to actually really just allow yourself to do what is necessary for you to actually continue healing your complex trauma, as well as if this is your first time actually just engaging in the journey. Because it's definitely a process. This is not anything that you can heal quickly, but it is something. If you continue to watch the Rebirth A Gift series, these videos, the content will be very inspirational, motivational, and transformational content. Every video will not be the same. Actually, as I mentioned in a previous video, it's really just for you to get a better feel of who I am. And also to build a connection so that you can feel that it's safe to share or to open up within yourself your own trauma that you have actually experienced. And so what I think I'm going to do now is that I was actually going through some information. One huge aspect of the Rebirth A Gift series is to give you educational content that can eliminate some time, like you Googling and trying to put all the pieces together. The Rebirth A Gift series, part 1, which is conception, is really to help you to be able to go to one place to get the educational and transformational content that you need as you're going through your journey. So you don't have to be really just jumping around and feeling flustered and exhausted just trying to get the content that you need, to get the information that you need. Because if you have taken an enormous step in your healing journey, you're ready to face those aspects of your childhood that you have hidden away in your memory, in your subconscious, but now you're ready. You have built up the courage. The last thing I want you to be doing is now trying to figure out, okay, where do I go? Who do I need to talk to, or how do I get the information? So the Rebirth A Gift series is bringing all that content that's going to help transform your trauma, your complex trauma, into healing, and to help you to now be catapulted to becoming the person you've always envisioned yourself to be. And so that's just a summary of what the Rebirth A Gift series is. I always give a brief introduction in the beginning of every video because I do anticipate that the channel will grow very quickly. And so if this is your first time actually listening in, I want you to be able to get the content, just get a gist of what this is and how it's actually going to help you. But I really don't have a very structured system, and that is done intentionally. I am definitely intentional in that because I want it to feel real. I want it to feel authentic for you. I don't want it to feel watered down or boring. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, just another video where, I want you to really feel encouraged. So, a lot of times it is based on how I'm feeling. Because as a human being, we have different emotions. And I know that as you're going through this journey, you're going to have different emotions. So I don't want you to just continuously be bogged down with the same monotonous system. This is not about systems. I am a business major. I do understand systems are very vital. But in this case, I want you to feel connected, a connection. That's the main objective here. I want you to really feel an emotional connection so you can know that this is a safe space for me. That now I can start facing my own challenges, my own limitations as a result of your own complex trauma. So because it is, I'm just going to shift a little here, because it is Child Abuse Awareness Month. We're almost at the end of the month, and I hope you guys are having a very wonderful day. Actually, the weather has been gorgeous, and I've just been actually just eating it up, well, just absorbing it, and just really feeling really good about that. So, we were actually doing the articles on child abuse because we're going back to conception, the very beginning. Again, if this is your first time watching, definitely go back and watch all the videos because it will give you a better cohesiveness of what the Rebirth a Gift series is, and also how you will start to see it will build you up internally as you continue to watch the videos, okay? As you gain the content. So I'm actually going to switch here to so we were reading this article at verywellmind.com, and it's about how emotional abuse in childhood changes the brain. So this is just one of the articles that I've actually gone over in detail, but I won't go back over everything. And I really would encourage you to go back and watch this video yourself, simply because it's going to give you more educational content on what you've gone through, and also what will help you along your journey in healing, okay? So the articles that I am sharing are credible articles. They're from licensed social workers, psychologists, therapists, because you want to get content and information from professionals. You also want to conclude experiential are those that have actually experienced some type of trauma, because it just allows you to feel a more connection, and it breaks down very jargon-like content and definitions and information in a format that's more relatable and obtainable for you. But you definitely want to, when you start building your educational foundation on this topic of complex trauma, childhood abuse is what we're focusing on right now. And we did go over this in detail, and that's on the other videos. And I want to stress here is that if you have experienced childhood abuse, okay, or if you have a child that's in an adverse situation, you're in a domestic violence situation, but you're trying to transition into a healthy dynamic, or and you have children, you have a child. So the videos are on two perspectives. It's on one perspective of if you had experienced childhood abuse, but also on the other side of the spectrum is if you have a child that's currently in a situation where they may be exposed to some level of complex trauma, or you just found out that they may have been exposed to some level of complex trauma, or you notice that there are some issues that you're starting to see develop in the child. Now, I did go over that in the previous video, so go back and watch those. But right now, we're going to talk about adults who went through childhood emotional abuse or neglect may also experience emotional dysregulation, feelings of hopelessness, low self-esteem, negative automatic thoughts, problems coping with stressors. And you may not think that there is a actual correlation at first. But as you go through your process of healing, you will start to notice, okay, I do see some emotional dysregulation. Like I'm having a good day, and then like that, my mood shifts and I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, I'm feeling anxiety. So a lot of times your complex trauma, or the trauma that you have not addressed or healed from, will cause imbalances in your emotions. So emotional dysregulation. What is emotional dysregulation? So these are some of the signs. Overly intense emotions, impulsive behavior, lack of emotional awareness, trouble making decisions, inability to manage behavior, avoids difficult emotions. Okay? Impulsive behavior. You find yourself overeating or undereating. You really don't know how you feel. You feel numb. Difficult emotions, like if something happens that, just say for instance, if someone you love just passed, and instead of you being able to properly grieve, it's completely avoided or not addressed at all. It's like it didn't happen and you're just ready to move forward. These are all signs of emotional dysregulation. Inability to manage behavior. You just feel like the example I gave before, you go from 0 to 100 and you don't really know where it's coming from, but you're tired of it. And if you just have a lot of confusion around making decisions, and not to include life-altering decisions like, where do I want to work? What's my career path? I mean, everything seems very confusing. So these are all signs of emotional dysregulation. So emotional dysregulation refers to poorly regulated emotional responses that are not within a range of typically accepted emotional reactions. Dysregulation can also refer to significant mood swings, significant changes in mood, or emotional liability. It can involve many emotions, including sadness, anger, irritability, and frustration. This is what I just mentioned earlier. While emotional dysregulation is typically thought as a childhood problem that usually resolves itself as a child learns proper emotional regulation skills and strategies, emotional dysregulation may continue into adulthood. For these individuals, emotional dysregulation can lead to a lifetime of struggles, including problems with interpersonal relationships. That's marriage, significant others, your children, grandparents, school performance, and the inability to function effectively in a job or at work. So you find yourself at work, and now everyone knows that in work environments, it can get narcissistic at some times, okay, at times. However, if you continuously feel yourself triggered and are feeling like ups and downs in your emotions, and you really don't know where it's coming from, like you know the personalities of those around you, you know the personality of your manager, but for some reason you have not really just thought that because your complex trauma is suppressed, you may not have thought, well, maybe that is related to my childhood trauma. You don't think of it that way until you start to heal and to recover a lot of not only your suppressed memories, but emotions. And I want to actually encourage you, if you feel too overwhelmed to deal with this yourself, as you start to unpack emotionally, that definitely get with your therapist in your area or a spiritual leader anyone you feel comfortable discussing this